In honor of Veterans Day, we went to Richmond's local American Legion post to sit down with some veterans who told us about their time serving and more.
At King Brothers Used Cars in Winchester, they'll treat you like family. Come in and drive away in a new-to-you vehicle, courtesy of King Brothers, or visit kingbrotherscars.com to see their inventory. King Brothers Used Cars, family-owned and time-tested since 1966.
We really don't have anything special going on here this week. First Christian Church is having a veteran service Sunday at 2 o'clock, and then at 5 o'clock that evening Sunday, the local Cub Scout troop are having a flag retirement ceremony on the steps of the courthouse, and we do plan on attending that.
The GI Bill was one of the greatest services the government ever offered to any group, including the vets. And many of us came out of plain backgrounds and would never have attended universities had it not been for that. The medical care, you put in a hitch in the service, and it turns out that the medical care, especially the drug prescriptions, are almost worth the time you put in. So I have no complaints about the government. I think it's given us more actually than we can claim that we earned.
Just being in the military it's every time you have Memorial Day and Veterans Day, you know you were part of it for all these years, and it's just something that you're proud of. And what we did, we served our country, and that's mainly the whole focus is being proud.
Yeah, it isn't so much the celebrations or the parties or the rights that are carried on. I think some of it, we are the fortunate guys. The real heroes of all of the conflicts have been those that went over and never came back, or came back with only partial bodies. I personally have a tendency to think of the sacrifices over the years that have been made by plain common folks. They're out of the fields, they're out of a cab driver's seat or something. They're plain folks that have gone and served well and bravely for the most part. And these are the people that I think of on that day.
I think every day is Veterans Day. If it wasn't for the veterans and what they've done before, now in the future, we wouldn't have the opportunity to celebrate and remember and dedicate our time to America as it is to be the land of the free and being the veterans we are. So I think every day is a Veterans Day, and we should salute them always and have them always in mind for whatever we do.
Will you remember that when you refer to the history?
Veterans are like a family, regardless of your background, your race. We're all a family, and we serve together, and we look at each other as a family.
Yes, if you hear us talk to each other in the different services and the insults that are exchanged between them, you'd think that we were enemies. But we would only talk that way to another because we have a great deal of respect, not only for them as individuals, but for the branch of service that they're in. We don't have a Marine represented here today, but they're probably picked on as much as anybody else. But I personally, if we're going into a dangerous situation, would want a company of Marines with me.
Absolutely.
These three guys are actually career military.
The main thing I can say is I'm living the dream right now with all this stuff. When I first came in, I came in during Vietnam. And when I first came in, we weren't very well liked at all. And so we went through a whole bunch of years, and all of a sudden Desert Storm came, and people started accepting us for what we were doing out there, trying to be good. I spent 21 active, and then went off the base to work and didn't get too much standardization, so I went back out to the base and worked another 14 years as a civilian. I don't regret a minute of it, and I would do it again if I was allowed to.
As far as a military career and all the services, everybody has their duty to do what they're assigned to do. All the services are a team. We couldn't do it by ourselves, so we have to look at our teammates to get everything done. As far as my military career, I was fortunate enough to spend 23 years active Army in uniform, another 10 years in uniform teaching at the high school level. And for me, I've never signed anything Sergeant Major retired. because I don't think I've ever retired. I'm still serving my country in one way or the other, and that's what I keep in my mind all the time, each day, keying on what can I do for the veterans today? What can I do for my society and community today? You know, it's a team effort by far.
No, I wouldn't have it any other way. I think that the 4 years I put into the service were 4 of the best years of my life. A little young fella, naive, came in off a small town in Ohio. I was introduced to different people, different backgrounds, different races, different cultures. I grew within the service directly as a result of that service, and got my education from Uncle Sammy as a reward for that. I wouldn't trade that experience for anything, and I would highly recommend every young man and young woman put in a few years in the service. It's good for them. They grow up.
We would like to see more of the younger veterans come out, just take a look at our facility, see if there's something they'd like. We'd like to think that we're more of a family atmosphere now than the American Legion or the VFW post of the past have been. We've got a 100% totally tobacco-free facility. So we think we do have a lot to offer here.
With WBON TV, I'm Lance Gaither. And for more great stories such as these, go to Richmond's very own WBONTV.com.